Well, what was it about? Attack of the Kettle?
So this movie starts like the kettle has this magic seal on him, and then someone accidentally like takes the seal off, and the kettle comes to life and wants to like kill everybody.
What kind of kettle are we talking about? Like a kettle and pot, or like?
You know that popcorn kettle at movie theaters? It's like the big.
Yeah. So that thing comes to life. How do you even do that? I mean, you got it moving around. I mean,
So we had really bad flash animation. Like we took a picture of it and we moved him around the screen, and it looks really.
and what does this kettle do? It hurts.
It shoots like fireballs.
It shoots fire. Okay, guys, welcome to Thor and the Boy, the podcast.
What's up? What's up? Episode 1.
Yeah, so my name is Boynton Paek. I'm an actor here in the Bay Area, and this is Michael Thordarson.
Hello.
Hence the name Thor and the Boy. Because the first 3 letters of my name is Boy. I went by that growing up. But my name is Boynton. I just thought we could kind of throw that
Throw
into...
some fun nicknames in there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, people have called me Floor in the past, so it's kind of... So it's interesting because your nickname's from like your first name, and then mine's from my last name. So.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, I mean, look, I used to have a podcast back in the days with my old co-host, who's also an actor. His name is Derek Crow. And we did it for about a year and a half, and it went well. And I think we were on our way to do like 2 episodes per month. And then COVID hit, and all of a sudden we weren't doing any episodes, right? And then when we finally started doing the episodes again, the frequency was like more like 1 every 2 months, if that. And then, Derek moved over to Los Angeles to pursue his acting career further, and also found another better paying job over there or whatnot, right? So that's what happened. If you want to learn a little bit more about me and my acting background, it's going to come alive throughout the episode.
I think we'll talk a lot about it.
Yeah,
so.
and if you want to know more deeply about that, you can go to Backstage Confession podcast on Spotify. We're still there.
I don't think it is. Last time I checked, because I think he let the subscription, he didn't renew it, so it got taken down. Because I looked for it.
Well, then you guys will know nothing about me. Yeah, no. But it's gonna come out. Look, put it plain and simple. I'm gonna give you a quick rundown. I've been an actor here in the Bay Area for 6-7 years. I'm non-union, so if we talk about doing films, don't crucify us because of the strike, because we are not SAG.
No, we're pretty indie, so...
We're pretty indie, and on top of that, we also make 0 money for a lot of the film work we do, and a lot of the money that I do make in this industry is from non-union, industrial, commercial, that type of work. Yeah, so I know a lot of people are getting attacked if they're producing stuff while this strike is going on. So I just thought I'd preface that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, it's your first time at my place. Where
It's a very nice spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you lived more outside of the city, but you're kind of like on the edge, it feels like.
I am. I could literally walk over to San Francisco. I'm just on that
On the edge, right?
yeah. once I go down Mission Street right there, I'm in San Francisco.
Francisco,
Yeah,
baby.
I go to the McDonald's like right down the street, and it's
Mm.
yeah, when I look at my debit card charge, it's San Francisco, and it's like right down the street. So yeah, I live.
It's the McDonald's app, right, for the deals?
I don't use it as much as I should.
The deals on there are pretty good.
Everybody tells me that. Everybody tells me that. So check this out. This morning, I asked Thor, "Do you want a coffee or anything?" Right?
Yes.
So the,
Okay. I don't know where you're going with this. I'll let you go with it, but
here I thought. I thought maybe like okay. I was honestly I was gonna go to McDonald's, right? I thought he was gonna say, "I'll take a coffee, 2 creams, and a sugar," something like that, right?
uh-huh.
His answer was, "I like a strawberry acai refresher." If you're going to
I
Starbucks,
assume that's where most people go for coffee is Starbucks.
I just get plain old coffee. I mean, sometimes I do go to Starbucks, but I'll get gas station coffee. Sometimes I'll get Phil's coffee, Starbucks coffee, but it's always just coffee. I never. Well, no, I've been getting some of the seasonal drinks. So anyway,
Okay.
but like this morning, I was really thinking about just coffee, right? So I asked you your ETA. You say it's going to be roughly about an hour. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to Starbucks, and Starbucks is like a couple miles away from me, and it's in this shopping center that has Lucky over there. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna get my iced coffee that I buy from for home,
Hmm.
and I'm going to get some donuts, right? And I look at the donuts. I'm like, I never really eat donuts because I can really go to town on them. So I was
Oh, okay,
thinking
okay.
like, there's a couple of donuts, and I'm like, they're like $1.50 each.
Because I usually can only do one or two, and then I'm feel pretty good.
They're $1.50 each, but you get a dozen for $10. So you get quite a discount. It's like,
That's how
I'll
they
just
get
get the
you.
dozen. Yeah, that's how they get you. So I go and get the donuts. I pay for it, and as I'm paying for it, I'm paying for it with all my dollar bills at the self checkout.
Oh, is it cash only? Oh,
No, no, but I made a bunch of tips last night.
okay.
I'm also a bartender, so I had a whole bunch of ones. So I'm putting the ones in, and there's this like elderly man, like he's next in the self checkout line, and all of them are full,
Uh-huh.
and I'm in the one like closest to him, and he's just like giving me this death stare as I'm putting 17 ones into the machine to pay for my coffee and my donuts. Like, he's looking at me like I'm wasting the most amount of time, and I get it. I get it. I could have pulled out my debit card, but my wallet. When your wallet gets that thick,
Yeah,
you just want
it's
you want to get rid of all the contents. So I purchased the coffee and donuts after his death stare. And then I go over to Starbucks, right? And I'm about to buy your strawberry acai refresher. And then as I'm paying for it, I pull cash out of my wallet to throw a tip inside the tip jar or whatever. There's a little box where they accept tips, and I throw a bill in there, and the guy was like, "Oh, wow, thanks, man." I was like, and I look what I threw in there. I threw a $5 bill in there. I was like, um, actually, I meant to give you this, and he switched it and put the dollar. He's like, "Oh, no, that's cool." And I was like,
oh, so you traded it out. Actually,
I traded it out because initially he was so excited, and I was just like, I should have just left that $5 bill in there. I was just like, these guys bust their ass, and I know not everybody is into tipping culture. I'm a bartender. It's bad juju if you are in the tipping industry and you don't tip. That's bad. And I thought about it. I was just like, these guys like are super busy. So I had to wait a while for that refresher. But then I thought I was like,
At least you didn't put like a 20 in there.
yeah, yeah. Then I'm definitely taking it back. I'm not gonna think twice about that. But it was a $5 bill. I was like, man, I should have just left that in there. And the guy seemed so happy when I threw that. Okay.
I think I would have just left it in there. At that point, it's like
Well, good for you.
it would have been too awkward for me to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," well, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's like I didn't even look in my wallet to see what I was throwing because I had like a stack of ones in there, and that's what I paid for the iced coffee and donuts with earlier. So I thought in my head there was only ones in there. I was like, oh, there's a couple of fives in there, and I accidentally threw it in there.
well,
So
at least you gave him something. So
yeah,
because I know a lot of people don't tip, so
yeah,
it's hard because like everywhere is like asking you for a tip, like fast food restaurants. And
it's everywhere. So it it bothers me, and it doesn't bother me, and it bothers me for very selfish reasons because I've been in an industry where it was customary to like tip. Bartenders have always received tips, at least in this country, since I don't know, since I've ever been alive, since my parents have been alive. It's always been a part of the culture. But what's happening now is since the tipping option on those screens, it's become so ubiquitous that now people are almost in a way retracting their tips from any situation, which again, for my own selfish reasons, rubs me the wrong way because now it could be affecting our bottom line as bartenders.
It's kind of diluting everything.
But at the same time, now it's giving an option for other people that generally didn't receive tips to receive a tip, and that is a good thing. So, I'm kind of
Mixed about it, yeah. It is weird, like when you go to Popeyes and then they're like,
Is it at Popeyes too?
one by my house, like it asks you for a tip, and I'm kind of like, because Popeyes is already kind of expensive, so.
It is. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Where is your favorite? Don't worry, we'll talk about the industry soon, but we got to talk about it.
We gotta talk about the food.
Yeah. So, out of all the fried chicken spots, where would you say is your favorite? Like I'm talking about like chain restaurants, like not like a mom and pop spot, but I'm talking about like chain fast food, fried chicken.
Popeyes is pretty good. Like if you get the spicy tenders,
Okay.
and then their biscuits, like depending on how fresh you get the biscuit, like the biscuit can be like really good. But then sometimes, you get a not so fresh biscuit, which is still pretty tasty, but it's not 5 star.
Thank you for the specifics. Sometimes it's tasty, sometimes it's not so tasty, and the spicy one's good.
Yeah, so Popeyes is up there. Chick-fil-A is also pretty good. What are your thoughts on Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A. So the thing with Chick-fil-A is it's made well, but you're not getting the actual pieces of the chicken. They're all either tenders or nuggets, right? And I think what really makes Chick-fil-A good is actually the sauce. I mean, they have so many great sauces. There's the Chick-fil-A sauces, one of my favorites. So is the Polynesian sauce. That's super good.
The buffalo is my go-to.
Oh yeah. You could actually, depending on your mood, pick any of them, and they're all really good.
So I think their Chick-fil-A sandwich is better than Popeyes, but I think Popeyes has the better tenders.
That's weird you say that. I actually think Popeyes has the better sandwich. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I think they have a
Interesting.
better sandwich than Chick-fil-A, but um, I think the tenders at Chick-fil-A are better.
Hmm. Okay, we're flipped.
Yeah, yeah, we are. Um, but you know what I order a lot at Chick-fil-A now?
What?
I order the salad, the Cobb
Oh, the
salad.
salad. Okay.
It's actually very filling, and again, they got their sauces down because the dressing that they have there is, I think it's called a avocado lime ranch dressing. Dude, best dressing bar none in the world. I could dump that on anything. You know, I even sometimes ask them for extra dressing just so I could dip some nuggets in there.
Oh, okay.
So here's what I do. What I do is I order the salad, then I get a side of tenders, right? And then I rip apart some of the tenders, throw it in there for some extra
This is your life hack.
yeah, this is my life hack. And then I'll eat a couple of the tenders on the side, but now I have extra chicken in my salad, and by the end of that meal, I feel I'm like super full.
Hmm.
Like
You feel satisfied?
I'm not even like a big salad person. I do enjoy salads, but you wouldn't when you think of like a nice salad, you don't think of fast food chains, and I think Chick-fil-A has a solid salad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, on the topic of food, okay.
Chicken. Okay. Have you ever been to Dave's Hot Chicken or like
No, I think I've seen them around. Where do you find one of those?
It started in LA and they've opened up a few locations in the Bay Area. There's two that opened in San Jose. And it's like the chicken place you get like two tenders, but then you pick your spice level.
Oh, dude, I can't do spice
Okay.
though. Yeah, I can't handle spicy. But you could probably get it.
Mild. Yeah, there's like a zero spice. But that one's pretty good. And then have you been to Raising Cane's?
No, I've seen those spots too. I just haven't tried one of them.
Yeah, there's only one in Oakland, and they actually had to like shut down the lobby because there was too many car break-ins happening in the parking lot, so they went to like drive-through only.
Got it,
So it's
got
kind of
it.
a pain to like go there because then you have to like sit in the drive-through. But the thing I love about Raising Cane's is the Texas toast. Like, it's like the perfect piece of bread.
There you have it. You go to the chicken place for the Texas toast. The stuff that you could buy off the shelf in grocery stores.
Well, once you have it, you'll
Okay, I'll have a deeper appreciation for
Yes.
their Texas toast.
But the interesting thing about Raising Cane's is they only have like one sauce, which is their like special Raising Cane sauce.
Okay.
So you don't get like at Chick-fil-A you can pick or Popeyes they have all the sauce flavors.
Okay, got it.
So you kind of admire them for being like we made this and you're gonna like it.
I hear you. Oh, fried chicken. We're staying on this topic. Have you ever tried Jollibees?
Oh, where's that?
So there's a couple locations here in Daly City. So it's actually it's a Filipino fried chicken chain. And Daly City has the I think the largest Filipino population in the United States. If I'm correct, I think that's the case. Um, and I do see quite a few Filipinos in Daly City. And what it is it's really good fried chicken. I mean, they do the batter really well. Look, I don't know the terms. It's really good, but they give you this a side of gravy with it, and the whole thing is to dip that chicken in the gravy and eat it, and it is absolutely delicious. And I think you got to give it a try.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe one of these days after the show, we could go grab
Fried chicken.
Jollibee's fried chicken.
So, Boynton, have you done any acting recently? Any projects?
So, I haven't acted since
Since
June.
June, okay. What was the last thing you worked on?
The very last thing I worked on was a film that still has not been released. It's called Agent of Solitude, and that was directed by Michael Fredinelli, who is also acting in that
That's the
film.
spy film.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Or along that genre, And I played a bomb maker. Yeah, and he he gave me a lot. Michael Fredinelli. He gave me a lot of freedom to kind of play with this character, and the type of persona that he had. He let me um, really just kind of think about how I wanted this guy to behave and how eccentric I wanted him to be and what type of mannerisms this guy might have and even like the inflection of his voice and his accent, everything. Um, and I love that Michael Fredinelli usually gives us that,
Freedom.
yeah, to kind of play with it, Um, and I had a great time. I mean, a lot of really talented actors were in it. One of the leads, he's somebody that I met for the very first time. His name slips my mind, but he's one of the main characters, and he did a fantastic job. It's great because every time I'm on a new film set, you get to meet new talent. I mean, I see a lot of the same talent too, which is awesome because you get to feel a little bit closer with them as you work with them in more projects. But every time you see somebody that's kind of new and extremely talented, I'm like, where's this person been the whole time?
It's always fun to meet like a new face that's like who's someone that like you see a lot of potential in and they're like really good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I see it all the time. I mean, look, a lot of the films out here in the Bay Area, they do have more of a shoestring budget, So there's not as much money going into the films as there are like down in Los Angeles, where there's a ton of funding behind it. So it's it's very impressive to see what can be done if you have an ambitious director with like really talented people cast in the film. It goes beyond what you think could potentially be done with such a small amount of money.
yeah, I mean it's a lot of it's creative thinking too,
Yeah.
because even because on the like if you have a really big budget, you have a lot of investors and they don't want you to take risks because they want to make a return. So if lower budgeted projects, you have more opportunity to kind of take more creative risks
Yeah.
and do something different.
Right. Right.
Because that's why I think you see like Disney is in this rut of just kind of like remaking all their animated classics.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like backfiring on them a little bit because people are like, what are you doing?
You know what I miss, man? Like on the topic of Disney, I miss 2D
I
animation.
know, right?
I am tired of all this computer animated stuff. I mean, look, it's cool once in a while, right? But to me, like 2D animation is so much more pleasing to the eye.
And it's timeless. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
even if you look back at like Snow White, it still looks good like today.
And I just feel like they're just kind of running out of ideas, man. Like I'm just like it's and they're kind of using the same formula for everything.
Exactly.
I'm like, okay, that's what it is, and that's with everything. Look, I don't watch many Disney films or anything like that. It's just not my thing. But like, all the ones that I do like are like the old ones, Like I love Aladdin, and
And Lion King.
yeah, Lion King is one of my favorites. Lion King is my favorite actually out of all of them. So,
Well, if you like 2D animation, then you'll be excited to see Scorned Waifu. So
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like, and I don't watch animation like too often. Like, I think the last thing I watched was Demon Slayer, and I watched the very first season, and then I stopped.
oh, so you didn't see the second season?
Yeah, and that's not because I didn't like the first season. I loved the first season, but it just I'm very stubborn about starting another season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's with anything. That's not just with
You have to be like ready to binge that season.
exactly, and that's with any kind of television show. That's not just with anime. But I thought Demon Slayer was very well done, and I've seen a lot of anime that has horrible animation. You know what I mean? Like the art is nice.
You see like the techniques they'll use, and it's funny because like sometimes they'll just have this like you can tell it's like a drawing, but they just cut to it when the characters are talking, so they don't have to like lip sync them, or they'll show the back of their head.
Kind of lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so I've seen some of that, but Demon Slayer is one of those ones I was just like, um, it was written very well. Like the storyline's awesome. Um, what I don't remember the character's name, but there's that one character. He's like timid.
Oh, the blonde guy.
Yeah, yeah. And then he turns into a complete
Oh,
badass.
yes.
It was like, doesn't he go to sleep or something?
I think yeah, it's he has like I don't know, like a different personality that kind of awakens inside him.
Yeah, and he becomes like one of the most ruthless, like whatever samurais or whatever you might call it, demon slayers you've ever seen. So yeah, that was a good one. Um, but I do watch like cartoons, but I like watching adult cartoons. Um, like one that I still watch like on a daily basis actually is King of the Hill.
Oh, King of the Hill is a classic.
You know, it's crazy because I think about King of the Hill and it lasted what? I think 13 seasons, something like that, right? And people always talk about Simpsons, people talk about Futurama, people
Family Guy.
Family Guy. I mean, I used to watch Family Guy all the time, but not as much anymore. But like King of the Hill is this one. It was so successful, yet nobody ever talks about it.
It has a cult following.
Yeah, I guess.
So
But it's like a cult following would imply that it wasn't successful in a real broad, like for 13 seasons. That's not cult. That means
people watched it.
dude, and it was successful for 13 seasons. That's not just a cult following. It was a successful show. But I just don't hear anybody talk. I talk about it all the time because, I mean, with people who will listen to me talk about it. But
No, it's a good one. There's some good jokes in there. So
yeah, my favorite character was Bobby Hill. Yeah, Pamela Adlon did the voice of Bobby Hill.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the entire time, and yeah, that kid, he was the kid that Hank Hill never he never wanted his son to be that kind. He wanted his son to be like a football player,
Yeah.
or like the cool kid, or the guy that was into propane.
Propane accessories.
Yeah, Bobby. Yeah, but Bobby, he wanted to be a comedian. He wanted to do all these other things, and it was just one of those things that Hank Hill could never get behind any of the things that he was passionate about. And and to a certain extent, I understand where Bobby's coming from because it's like,
He wants to do his own thing.
my parents never supported any of the stuff that I wanted to do. So
Yeah, a lot of parents have like expectations for their kid, and then usually, most often, the kid wants to do something different.
yeah, and I think it's actually pretty normal for parents to not want their children to pursue the arts because it's so risky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Bobby resonates with me, but um Hank Hill, although he wasn't always supportive, he still seemed like a pretty good father who wanted the best for his um
For his family.
yeah, and then all the other side characters were hilarious. Luann, who was voiced by the late Brittany Murphy, was awesome, and then there was Dale and
Boomhauer.
yeah, I could never understand anything he's saying. One of the more funny parts of the show I thought was, Joseph was the son of Dale, right? But he was really the son of John Redcorn.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that?
I don't think so.
So John Redcorn was like the big muscular like Native
Oh,
American
that
guy,
okay.
right? And so you look at Joseph, Dale's son, and his skin tone is completely different. He has darker skin and everything, and he totally does not look like he would be the son of Dale. But of course, the show reveals that his wife, had an affair with
I think I remember that episode. Now that you bring it up,
Yeah. So
there's also an episode where they play a Judas Priest song. I remember.
Judas Priest. No, yeah, no. There was a lot of rock songs. There was an episode where it shows Hank's cousin. It's his brother or cousin is in ZZ Top.
Oh, okay.
And then he never told anyone because he was kind of ashamed of having them as family members, right? Because he thought that they were like very inappropriate and things like that. And they came to visit him while they were shooting a reality show. And the reality show became about the ZZ Top members trying to annoy Hank Hill as much as possible
Uh-huh.
to get an angry reaction out of Hank Hill. And so they just had nothing but clips for that reality show of Hank Hill just losing his mind every time they played a prank on him. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. They actually included quite a bit of like rock culture in that show. It's kind of spread out, but it was in there. Yeah.
Well, that's what living in the South was kind of all about.
Yeah. And they did have like a Asian family there. And trust me, they were caricatures of Asian families. And I think there was a time in my life where that would have kind of bothered me. But the more I watched that show, I was just like, this is a show that mocks the culture of everyone.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny when I thought about it that way. I mean, it was really kind of mocking the culture of like, Texas and
Texas, white people.
yeah, things like that. So I was just like, well, everything's on the table. You can't just pick and choose which ones bother you. As long as you're laughing at the entirety of it, you're good. And I really like that show, and I think I'm watching season 10 right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you going in order?
I kind of picked somewhere in the middle. I think I started off watching season 8. I didn't want to go all the way to the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I tried, but like the animation, everything, the voices, how they're trying to find their footing in the beginning with every show? The first few episodes are always kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this, because the characters as who they are now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you see this in The Simpsons, you see the very beginning of The Simpsons.
Sometimes the best episodes are in the first season, though. Like with Family Guy, some of like the funniest stuff was like in season 1.
Yeah. Now that's one. I think they lasted for 3 seasons and then they got canceled. So that's one of the shows that gained a cult following.
Yes.
And then they brought it back, but I agree with you with Family Guy. I think the first 3 seasons were very good.
And then SpongeBob, like the first 2 seasons were like
SpongeBob is one of the best kids. I say kids very loosely because I don't always think it's a kids television show, but I started watching it while I was in my 20s because I think it came out while I was like when do you know when the release date was for SpongeBob
it
was?
was like 1994 or early 90s, I think.
I think it had to be like late 90s
Or mid 90s or late 90s, because I remember seeing like commercials for it, like they were promoting it as like a new show And I was like, what the heck is this? Because it looked very weird.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, mid to late 90s would be my guess.
Hmm. Yeah. Great show. Great show. All the earlier episodes were good. The later episodes were good. I just I just thought it was hilarious. I mean, SpongeBob being this happy-go-lucky guy who's happy to be a fry cook at the
The Krusty Krab.
crab, and then you got. I mean, these are tropes that have been done throughout time, just in sitcoms. You got that the greedy manager who just thinks about
All
money all the
money.
time.
You got
The idiot friend,
the
Patrick.
cranky neighbor.
The
Squidward.
cranky. Dude, Squidward's one of my favorites because of how cranky he is and how much of a snob he is. Because he gets like very like snobby and snooty and arrogant about the arts. He's into arts and playing the clarinet and stuff like that. And yeah, it's great writing. It's totally entertaining.
Have you seen the meme that like the older you get, the more you relate to Squidward?
Oh god. Oh gosh, that's dude. I feel like him all the time now.
I know, right?
I feel like him
when
all-
you're a kid, you like feel like SpongeBob, but then
Yeah. I'm at the gym, like, I was talking to one of my gym buddies the other day. And, there's a bunch of like young 20-something-year-olds or 19-year-olds working out at the gym. And I hear them speaking to each other, right? And they're like, oh, bruh. It's you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, where's but they say stuff like bussin' and look, this is how I know I'm old because I know at one time I had some old slang that I used when I was their age.
are they like you busting some weights, bro?
Well, no, I mean all gym guys talk like that. No, but like there's this like way they speak and they rotate the same words into their vocabulary over and over and over and it just doesn't stop. So it seems like they don't have a lot to say except for those few words.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. So I was really I was like, man, these guys sound like idiots. I said, if you want to be somebody that's respectable, you have to speak like a respectable human being. You can't just keep throwing these same slang words around over and over again. But then I thought about it. I was like, no, I'm just old. I'm just old. It's okay for you to talk like that when you're 18, 19 years old. It's fine. They think it's cool. It's not cool. It's idiotic.
It's what you do.
Eventually you'll realize it sounds stupid, right?
Yeah.
But it's when you see people that get to a certain age and I'm like, "Oh, you're done evolving." If you're still talking like that with the same like 3-4 words in your vocabulary over and over and recycling them at the age of like 28, 29, I'm sorry. There's not much hope left for you. You either decide at one point in your life that you're going to start speaking in a way that's respectable or you're done. And don't get me wrong, I do talk like an idiot a little bit more around my buddies, but it's not completely engulfed in that type of talk.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a time and a place, and if we're being silly, yeah, we're gonna throw around some stupid slang, but sometimes you could tell, oh, this is just how you speak in general. Mm-hmm. Now I sound judgmental. Sorry.
Well, you're Squidward. That's embracing Squidward.
I am Squidward now. I am Squidward. What am I going on about? Yeah. I mean, it's not like I speak like some scholarly man or something like that. You know what I mean? But again, going back to your point, I am Squidward now.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely am.
But Yeah, I'm in the middle of my third feature film production
Yeah,
called The
yeah.
Guard Room.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that film and how did it inspire you and what is it about?
So it's about a security guard who works the graveyard shift at this creepy warehouse district, and she gets trained by this like employee who like doesn't give a crap about the job. And then strange things start to happen, and then there's kind of like this mystery element that we're trying to figure out as the film progresses.
Okay.
So, and the film was inspired a lot from my own experience from working security
Hmm.
because the first day I was trained, I was kind of trained by this guy who like didn't really give a crap about the job, and and then there's some like real life encounters that I incorporated into the script. So there's a lot that pulls from reality. And so it was kind of fun writing this film because it was kind of like figuring out how to incorporate those like real life experiences into a story.
Right. Now, I mean, so you've written and directed quite a few films. I mean, in your younger days, you did a lot of experimental stuff, a lot of
Hmm.
short films, and things of that nature. Um, Over time, have you figured out like a process that works for you when it comes to writing? Because I've written and directed my own short film as well, and that one came out pretty naturally, and I wrote it fairly quick, and just because the ideas just came to me. But as I started embarking my journey on writing other films, I just kept running into writer's block, and I
Hmm.
just can't get past these blocks. So you've completed a lot of film scripts. How do you get through those blocks?
I think it just kind of comes naturally. Like I figured out my own process because everyone I think has their own kind of writing process. So, usually when I'm out walking or working out or whatever, I like to run ideas through my head. And so I do that a lot. So, like, I'm always coming up with, like, oh, that would be like a cool idea or a cool scene.
Now, when that comes up, do you write it down or do you just mentally? I mean, like,
If it's something cool, I'll kind of just think about it and kind of rerun it through my mind. I do have like kind of a note in my phone where I keep like basic concept ideas down. So I think I have like 15 different like concepts. And then yeah, so like when it comes time to like write the film and put it on paper, that's when you can run into roadblocks because you might have the beginning down, right? But then you're like, how do I bridge the beginning and this part in the middle that I know? And then you either write the part in the middle and then you have to go back and connect it, or you have to like knock out that scene that connects them.
right, right.
So,
Wow. Yeah. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I'll come up with a
uh
premise,
huh.
and that general premise will it'll sound really good, right? So I think I have a general idea of what Act One and Act Three will look like.
Yeah.
Act Two is the hardest because you have to somehow, especially when you have several characters in motion, right?
Mhm.
Act Two is the hardest to write, man. That's where I have the most trouble because a lot of times when I have a film idea, I have an idea of how I want it to start and how I want it to end. Like I know what the grand finale is gonna look like, right?
Usually the ending is one that people get stuck on too. Like they'll have the film, but then they're like, how do I end this?
You're right. You're right because I'm stuck on one of the endings as well too. But my whole thing is like, okay, so I'm in the middle of writing like a feature length script.
Cool.
No, I say that very loosely because I've been trying to write this script for years, right? And I think I got up to like 30 pages, right?
So you have the first 30.
Yeah, I
Okay.
got the first 30 pages. I've been on the first 30 for years because I basically abandoned it because I was, but it's still in my Celtex, right? And I actually read it. I forgot most of it for the longest time, and I just read it, and I liked it actually. I mean, there's a few things I would change about it, but what had happened was I I started typing in and creating like more characters to let this film kind of evolve and introduce all these people that might be key players in the game,
Uh
right?
huh.
But then I started thinking, okay, these characters, they gotta all mean something. They all gotta play a part, and they all gotta be a part of this grand finale I have in my mind. And now I'm just trying to connect all the dots in a creative and interesting way. And it's so hard for me because here's the thing. I mean, I'm not like an expert or anything, right? Here's where I feel like a lot of filmmakers screw up, especially indie filmmakers and, people, yeah, a lot of indie filmmakers, a lot of short filmmakers. I think what they get wrong is they come up with something that sounds interesting to them, and it becomes so personalized that they don't even think about the entertainment value. And then it becomes just very self-indulgent. And then what ends up happening is the finished product ends up just being a boring film. Like, sometimes it doesn't even have an act 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes it's just like, what was that? You just, I mean, I know that some of this seems personal to you, but where's the creative edge? Where's the entertainment
Yeah.
value? Where's the part where we want to know what happens next, And where's the conclusion?
It's gotta be. You gotta have some storytelling like elements in
Right,
there.
right. I mean, but do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I think that's a problem a lot of mumblecore films have. Is that
Wait, what is that? I don't know that.
okay? Mumblecore is a genre of like indie film that's very it's kind of improv a lot of the time, and it's about like characters struggling through life and or struggling with dating or whatever, and yeah, it's like very low budget, like, you would film it here in your bedroom and we would just kind of improv a scene and be like, oh, I need to date, well, whatever. So it's the goal of the genre is to make it as like close to real life as possible, I think.
I could see that working. I really could. I could see a film completely being improv with like some general constructs around what's happening.
And like I think as a writer you should pull from your life experience because that's going to make the film feel more real. But then you need to know how to take that and then make it entertaining.
Absolutely. And this is where I feel like people really mess up. And look, I'm not saying that I'm perfect in that sense, but I'm always considering the audience. I'm always considering them. And then like I know certain stories are interesting to me in my own personal way, but there's certain things I won't talk about with people. Like I'm into body weight calisthenics, that's that sort of stuff. I'm not gonna sit and have a conversation with
You
somebody
don't have
about.
a script about body weight calisthenics in the works?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of redundant because body weight exercises is calisthenics. But yeah, I mean, but no, I don't talk about calisthenics with people that are not into it. I mean, even the people in the gym are barely interested in talking about it. So I only talk about it when people ask me about it. I'll post up a video on Instagram or something like that, but I'm not going to sit and have a conversation with just anybody about it. I'm certainly not going to make a film about it.
Yeah, like in the guard room, like even though some moments are based on reality, like I've kind of exaggerated some elements and he
Absolutely.
tweaks some things, yeah, to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have. Look, some people say things like, "Oh, this movie, this would never happen, and that person, nobody would behave that." Look, if it's completely rooted in reality and how people would behave in real life, it's gonna be a boring movie. I'm sorry. It's just not going to be fun. Look, I know people that watch MMA and then they watch like the fight choreography in film. They say, "Oh my god, that's so fake." I'm like, real life fighting is messy. Okay? If I want to see that, I'll watch the UFC. But in film, things need to look pretty. I'm sorry, it just needs to look good. You know? And if it's going to be a little sloppy, you want to know it's because it's meant to be sloppy. It's meant to be like those guys don't really know how to fight. So it's going to look a little bit messier. But like I like watching John Wick dodge 50 bullets and kill 300 guys in a row. I know that's not realistic, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, like films are kind of like escapism for, yeah, they're supposed to be fun, and like if you can make a film that's really dark and really based in reality, and if that's what you want to do, then I respect that. But
Yeah, I mean, and look, I there's certain genres that I'm just really not into, but I'm one thing I will not say though. So, for example, don't kill me, I'm not a Star Wars fan, okay? I'm not a Star Wars fan. But the amount of work and talent that it takes to make Star Wars, I admire it. Like, look, there's certain genres of music I don't like. I don't like your genre of music. You like what?
metal.
Metal?
Well, I mean, I listen to a lot of genres, but metal is the
Yeah, so like
one of the main ones.
metal, it's not my cup of tea, but those guys are really talented. But it just doesn't, it's just not something that sounds particularly appealing to my ears, right?
It doesn't
But
hit you in the right way.
right,
Yeah.
right. That doesn't mean they're not talented. But like again, like shows like Star Wars where it's super super science fiction, you know what I mean? It's so out there that I can't get into it.
No, like I feel like if you put the effort in whatever you're doing, it will show through. So like
Yeah.
if you're making like this film that's based on reality and it's like you put a lot of time and effort into making it as good as possible, I think
Yeah.
like even if that's not your genre, you
Right, right. And look, but I do make some exceptions. Like, I've followed the X-Men franchise, like all of it. I've watched all of it just because I used to read X-Men comic books when I was a child, right? So it's something that, carried over to me as an adult. So I just kept watching all the X-Men movies, and I think that's kind of where I make my exception. But even as I've gotten older throughout the years and stuff, I watch very, very few superhero movies unless they're part of X-Men or something like that. I can't remember the last Batman movie I watched. I can't remember the last DC movie I watched. I think I watched all the Avengers. But even the Avengers movies, I kind of barely like it. You know what I mean? I like films that are a little bit more rooted in reality. That's why I like gangster films, and if it's a little exaggerated version of reality like The Equalizer, I still enjoy it. But like people flying around and doing, those type of things, it's kind of lost its appeal to me too. And also like the amount of CGI out there now, it's a little too much. Now, because now it's just like I can't get away from my mind just thinking of them in front of a green screen on like wires and.
yeah. That's why it's cool like when you see films that do a lot of practical effects. Cuz even if you can tell it's like practical, it still feels more real cuz it's like actually happening in
Right.
front of the camera.
Yeah, like for example, like Quentin Tarantino, right? He doesn't use too much CGI, does he?
No, he doesn't. And then Oppenheimer, I think
Yeah,
he
Christopher
said
Nolan.
there was not a single shot with CGI in that film.
I could tell.
Did you
Did you
watch
watch
Oppenheimer?
I
Oppenheimer?
have not seen it yet.
It's look, maybe it's too highbrow for me, but it was a good film. Don't get me wrong. So, but the pace of the film and how long it was, I mean, the pace was insane on this film.
Uh-huh.
And it goes back and forth. The timeline is not consistent. So I started seeing a pattern after a while. Like when it was black and white, it was showing somebody else's point of view. When it was in color, it was showing somebody else's point of view. And it kept going back in time to current, back in time to current. And then the the pace of the dialogue and everything was just insane. And so that's the kind of film I would have to watch it 2, 3 more times. And I might one day, just decide to watch it a second time, then a third time. Because I think it's a film that deserves that. And towards the end of the film, I think it dovetailed nicely into how all these characters played a part in this film. Right? So I think it wrapped everything up real well, even if you didn't understand it, from the beginning and the middle but towards the end it really started to make sense, right? But at the same time, it's like, as far as entertainment value goes, not my favorite Nolan film. I'm sorry. It's just like, it's probably real low for me for Nolan films. But one of my coworkers, he told me it's the greatest Nolan film he's ever seen.
How was the explosion? Did it look good?
Dude, look, check this out. I watched this in IMAX 70 millimeter. Okay? So it doesn't get any better than that, okay? I thought I was gonna be blown away by this film. I'm like, it's a movie with a bunch of dialogue. You don't need that. Like, it's just, I could have watched that on my television and got the same
Yeah.
experience. I know people are gonna like judge me for that. They're like, he doesn't know anything. He's an idiot.
Because I think, yeah, they had to, like, figure out how to recreate the atomic bomb explosion, because they used, like, an actual
No,
explosion.
but it's not gonna show you what it thinks you think it's gonna
Oh,
show
okay.
you. It's not gonna show, like, you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
It was very anticlimactic for me, put it that way. As far as that goes, I love like some of the raw effects they use to create a feeling. I love that because you could tell, Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer was he was in this very complicated spot, especially after what had happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I mean, who wouldn't feel?
Yeah.
In that way, the acting was brilliant.
I'm sure.
Every person in that film delivered. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt. Uh, who else was in there? I think Florence Pugh was in there. Yeah, it was. Brilliant acting. That's all I can say. I'm just gonna say that it's not my favorite Nolan film, just because I couldn't keep up with it. Maybe I'm too stupid to keep up with that.
Well, his scripts are always, like, filled with a ton
Right.
of
Well, it was
details,
it was
too.
hard to just keep up with the pace of it and like what was happening at what time and so on and so forth. But it is a film that deserves to be watched and deserves to be watched several times because there was a lot of hard work that was put into that film. The dialogue is incredible, and the chemistry between all the actors in the film was, bar none, some of the best I've seen. I gotta admit though, it lost me at times. I was just like,
Okay.
at certain times, like I was thinking, all right, let's get to it. Come on, all right.
Yeah.
But every bit of dialogue in there is very deliberate. So it was just me being impatient for a very long movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was more of like a biopic piece, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a quick break
Oh,
to switch out
yeah.
the battery. But yeah. So we'll be right back after this break.
Okay.
And we're back from break. So
So we just got done talking about Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, and then
As
do you
far-
want to hear about some of my first short films?
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Yeah, tell me
Okay.
about them.
So let's see. I guess you could say like one Christmas when I was 10, I got like a video camera as like a present. And I thought it was like the coolest toy ever.
How old were you?
I think I was like 9 or 10.
Whoa. Wait, your parents got you a video camera?
Yeah, it's a video camera that like I don't know if you remember the mini DV tapes you had to put in. Like you recorded on tape.
No, I remember that. Yeah.
And so
Man, you're spoiled. Getting a video camera at such a young age, man.
but yeah, it was cool because I remember just like walking around and filming the house and be like, "Whoa, this is so cool!" Because we didn't have cell phones back then, which had cameras on it. So like recording video was like this new thing, and so then I started making like little puppet shows with like my stuffed animals.
Okay.
And then I think like some of the like early short films, like I didn't even edit it on a computer. Like we did in-camera editing. So like we had to like shoot it in order. And then if you messed up, you'd have to like rewind the tape and then hope you stopped the tape in the right place. So sometimes like when you would watch it, there would be like a blue screen or like a outtake or something. But I think one of my first short films we made was a parody of like the Saw movie, and it
Oh my gosh, that's pretty dark for a 9-year-old.
well, this is a few years later, like when I was in junior high and high school.
Okay.
But it was called Pikachu Sleepover.
Pikachu sleep. Okay, tell me about Pikachu sleepover. What?
The kind of joke was like instead of Jigsaw, we had this like Pikachu stuffed animal we would put, and like he would make you do like these tasks related to like sleepovers and eating food.
Wait, no, wait. Rewind that back. He would make you do what for sleep?
So like I think the first one we did is like somebody had to drink an entire like 12 pack of Pepsi.
You know. So what? You're trying to kill somebody through diabetes?
And then I think we did some episodes like there was one where like we had to take like a soda shower. So like we had this like 2 liter and we were like, oh.
Wait. Well, this was done with the puppets?
So Pikachu would be like on the TV screen and we would give him this like high pitched voice. And they'd be like, if you want to survive the sleepover, then you will have to take the soda shower. Yeah.
And what is the soda shower supposed to do? Just make him feel really sticky afterwards?
You survive the game.
That's a waste of perfectly good soda.
And then one episode, someone had to eat a whole like large pizza, you know.
Well, that is something I will be willing to do. I mean,
And then I think there was one time like we had to cover ourselves in chocolate syrup. I don't, yeah.
oh, that's awful.
It's pretty awful. I don't know what young Michael was thinking back then, but
Okay, so you had, but that's how you started like exercising those creative muscles inside your brain.
And then I got a job at the Cinemark movie theater.
Okay.
And we had this inside joke with like the popcorn kettle cooker because they'd like always burn you if you
Okay.
weren't careful. So we decided to like make this movie called Attack of the Kettle. And so this is like a homebrew film. And so I had like two like of my coworkers who were kind of into the joke, and then we just decided to roll with this like idea of making this movie, and it was really bad.
Well, what was it about? Attack of the Kettle?
So this movie starts like the kettle has this magic seal on him, and then someone accidentally like takes the seal off, and the kettle comes to life and wants to like kill everybody.
What kind of kettle are we talking about? Like a kettle and pot, or like?
You know that popcorn kettle at movie theaters? It's like the big.
Yeah. So that thing comes to life. How do you even do that? I mean, you got it moving around. I mean,
So we had really bad flash animation. Like we took a picture of it and we moved him around the screen, and it looks really.
and what does this kettle do? It hurts.
It shoots like fireballs.
It shoots fire. Yeah, why don't you have it shooting popcorn or something that makes a little bit more
well,
sense?
You know, it was. I don't know.
Here's what I would think, like shooting popcorn and then spraying like hot butter like all over everyone and just make it melt their skin like acid.
See, if I was making it now, I would think of stuff like that. But this is like when I was like 16 years old.
So one, we had Pikachu acting as Jigsaw, forcing people to take Pepsi showers. And then you have a kettle that shoots fire. Look, you know what though? When I think about it, I'm not that surprised. Because if I look at like the catalog of films you've done from what I have seen, you have always been super out there.
I know, right?
And that's the one thing I will say about you is you don't have too much outside influence on how you should write your stories or make films. You really just kind of go on your own path.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all these films that I mean, you explore some like are you doing shrooms when you think of these?
No, I'm not. That's just the way my mind works. Like,
Because it totally reminds me of like let's say for instance, can you imagine what was going through the minds of the guys who came up with Super Mario Brothers? Like, what in the world?
I mean, some
see
people
what I'm
just
saying?
have that like way of thinking, cause like
But like, it's like you got these carpenters, right? That's what
plumbers,
they are. Like,
yeah,
Mario and Luigi, they're like plumbers or carpenters,
hidden blocks,
hitting blocks, jumping on like what are they called?
Goombas.
Goombas, they're just mushrooms that walk around, right?
Yeah,
And then you have like turtles.
Turtles.
Like, when have turtles ever been a threat to people? You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes turtles that fly. And when he eats a mushroom, he gets big. I mean, and when he touches flour, he
Can shoot fire, yeah.
fireball. Like, what? I mean, it's like one of the most fun, entertaining games I ever played as a child, and it's crazy because only as an adult did I question these
The
things.
reality of that world.
Because
Yeah,
like when I was a kid, I was just like, "Oh, this is great." I didn't think about who came up with this, and this is what I think that's great about being a child is like you're just very accepting of things that defy reality.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you see cartoons and stuff, and none of it makes sense, but it looks entertaining and it looks fun and it looks, you know, I think that's the great thing about being a child is like you stretch the creativity beyond what reality confines you to.
Exactly. And then the film after the kettle one was called Rainbow Colored Jellyfish. And in that movie,
Rainbow colored jelly.
and in that film, I was like, I'm trying to protect this jellyfish because like we make this like discovery of this rare animal, and then like all these like bounty hunters want to capture the jellyfish so they can like sell it on the black market or whatever.
Because it's rainbow colored?
Yes.
Okay, well that makes a little bit more sense.
But it was like funny because it's like I would hold the camera and film the coworker, my friend, and then it'd be like, okay, you film me, so like it just cuts
Wait,
back and forth.
how'd you get a rainbow colored jellyfish?
It's just like a little
like a stuffed
animal, yeah.
Was it rainbow colored?
Yeah.
And it was a jellyfish?
Was it jellyfish?
Where do you get these toys? Look,
I think I got it from like a McDonald's Happy Meal, like when they had the Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
So
you know, it's funny because you had me in one of your films as a guy that transforms into a lobster. So it was like this is years ago. He had me play this guy that transformed into this stuffed animal lobster, right? And then I looked back and saw some of your really old photos. You had that lobster since like forever, right?
yeah, it was like I think it's from Maine when I took a trip out there as a kid.
So you've had that lobster since you were a little kid.
Yeah.
And you incorporated it into a film. Where'd you get the idea to make me a guy that turns into a lobster?
Because that was from like the Let's Play like skit we did. Because it had to do with the game. Because like it was about transferring your mind into like something else.
Oh yeah, and I transferred to an eagle. Yeah. This is stuff I was involved in when I first met this guy. I was thinking in my mind, and the thing is, I just want to be a part of the creative process, and I still do. But in my mind, I was like, where's this stuff coming from? And, it's funny because you're laughing because you do know how ridiculous it is.
But that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and then then I did look back at some of your older work and stuff. I was like, oh, this is kind of your MO.
Yeah.
Like just like super out there ideas.
So after that film, that's when I moved to California. So I think we had plans to make like a sequel to the Kettle movie where it was like the Icy Machine.
Oh, now the Killer Ice Machine.
So, but that never like became a thing. And then I think that's when I made Chocolate Malady.
Chocolate Melody.
Yeah.
Now, you had to change the title of that film.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Chocolate Fever. So this was like kind of a very short film I made back in Colorado because we had this like inside joke about like people don't share their chocolate. So we kind of made like a short version of Chocolate Fever back in Colorado. So I kind of wanted to like remake it.
So when you made Chocolate Malady, were you already in film school, or
I think I was in De Anza at that time, which is like the community college, which is the first school I went to.
They have a film program.
Yes.
There, right? Okay.
And yeah, the guy, there was like an offer of a book called Chocolate Fever, and like he reached out to me and he's like, you can't name your movie Chocolate Fever because I own that title. And I was like, dude, it's like a short film.
More than one person can. You know how many films have the exact same title? Like, it happens.
So, but I was like, whatever, I'll just change it.
Yeah.
And it's a little cringy for me to watch.
It had its moments. I did think it was pretty hilarious when there was like, I think.
So the film is about like this magical chocolate that like can hypnotize and like control whoever eats it. And so I use it to like control these girls to like make them do whatever I want. And then I run out of chocolate and then they get crazy.
Yeah, And you know what's funny? So you would think that I'm gonna use this chocolate to make them do whatever I want them to do. And I see the footage. All they're doing is they're making him pizza, giving him Coke. I'm not talking about the sniff sniff Coke. I'm talking about Coca-Cola Classic. Because he's too lazy to get it out of the refrigerator by himself. Exactly. And so every time they like bake him a pizza or give him a Coca-Cola, he tosses him another chocolate. Bar. And then eventually you run out of the
And I run out, and then that's like when they get creepy on me.
And then they start going crazy because they want more chocolate.
Exactly.
You can't give it to them.
I don't have any, so. And at the end of the film, they like turn me into a sundae.
How does they turn you into a sundae?
So I think like the last shot, I was like in the bathtub and I had like a few ice cream scoops on me, and then you just see them like holding some spoons, and then it like cuts to black. Okay. So that's what's implied, but
interesting. Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty funny because there's this one scene where you were like laying on the couch and the girl gets you like a Coca-Cola and you just like toss a piece of chocolate at her.
I'm like, get out of here.
Get out of here. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another one of your like out there ideas.
And then another film made during that time was called Michael versus Miley. And it was this, like, I think the idea was that we were supposed to, like, parody, like, all the Disney Channel stars, like Miley Cyrus and, like, Selena Gomez and all those people who were popular at that time. And so, it was funny when we did the auditions, we had the person who auditioned to, like, play Hannah Montana. They were, like, a party impersonator. So they would like go to parties and like pretend to be Hannah Montana. So she had like the wig and everything. And she was like pretty good in the audition, but then when she was on set, like her acting skills like went away and she was like really quiet.
Huh. That's interesting.
And like yeah, and no one in this film like could really act. Yeah. Because we didn't get a lot of people who were like, I don't want to be like Selena Gomez.
Yeah, I mean, like, there is, but now, I mean, there's a lot more resources to get actors and get people to audition here in the Bay Area. But I'm sure back then you had limited resources to even find actors. So for the longest time, I'm sure a lot of people just had to cast their friends. And,
pretty much.
You know, like, yeah.
So, yeah, in the film, I think the idea is that, like, I'm going to direct Hannah Montana, but she just wants to beat me up instead for some reason. And so I have to go to Selena Gomez to get her help.
It just keeps getting better, folks.
And then, like, Hannah Montana, she gets, like, the Jonas Brothers, and then, like, the Jonas Brothers fight Selena Gomez.
The Jonas Brothers fight Selena Gomez. Dude, get out of here. Like, I'm done. Oh, boy. Yeah, no, again, very... super out there, but hey man, these ideas, they just randomly pop up in your head.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, it sounds like a fun idea, let's do it, you know.
That's hilarious.
And then
but you know what, I give you a lot of credit for actually just kind of running with these ideas, you know, because I know that this is gonna come off a little crazy when you put it up, right?
I know, but
but the thing is, like, there's originality in it. As wild as it is, it's not run-of-the-mill stuff. Nobody's doing this stuff. Like, ever.
Oh, that's what I want to do when like I make a movie. Is like I don't want to make a film that you've already seen. So.
And it is one of those things where I feel like, you know, when you're making some of these films, like, this is going to be very tongue-in-cheek. You know, like, we get it. Like, and the thing is, you have to be in on it. You know
exactly.
What I mean? Because there's going to be, of course, there's going to be some people like, what is this? This is crazy. But then, you know, I think after they see a couple of your things, like, okay, yes, it is crazy. That was the entire intention of it. Yeah. Whereas, like, when I write scripts, they are a little bit more, you know, day-to-day type scripts, because mine are about relationships, just because the a lot of what my experiences are around relationships that I've experienced, and all the good sides, the dark sides of it. And then my whole thing is to throw some sort of creative element to it to keep it interesting. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then there was a film called Soda Religion,
Soda
which is
religion.
about one guy who really worshipped the Coca-Cola brand, and then another guy who really worshipped the Pepsi brand, and then they fight each other basically.
So there's somebody in the film community. I won't say his name, but I think he drinks like a few 2 liters of Coke every day,
Uh-huh.
and he hates Pepsi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So he would be on the Coca-Cola
Yeah,
religion too.
very much
Okay.
so. He's expressed his hatred towards Pepsi several times on his Facebook posts, and but yeah, he is an avid Coke drinker. I I can't fathom how you can drink a couple 2 liters of Coke every day. I can't imagine that would be good for you.
It sounds like a lot of sugar and
Yeah, yeah. But you are a candy enthusiast. Let's go there for a sec. Or unless you want to keep talking about your films, but we could.
yeah, so then there was that one, and then there was one called Resident Girls Apocalypse, which is about these like zombie anime girls that come after these characters, and they have to team up with the lobster, and the lobster like fights them.
Okay, wait. Did you actually get animation done in this one?
And it was like flash animation for some parts, but then yeah, it would just be like the lobster was there, and then he was
Wait. So they were zombie girls or
zombie anime girls, but yeah, they were like
anime girls that are fighting a lobster, a crustacean. That's what they are, right? Crustaceans.
yes.
Oh God. Okay.
And yeah, those are like the early short films, and then I made two like kind of more serious projects. One was called Nature's Father.
I think I saw that. That one's pretty dark, right?
Yeah,
that was pretty.
and yeah, that one's kind of about like a corporation that's trying to cut down nature and
Yeah.
doesn't go well.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this: so, your friend is your close friend is a woman named Holly.
Yes.
Yeah, Holly Lasso.
I met her on Chocolate Melody. That I think
That's how it
that's how she
happened.
auditioned for that project. So
Whoa! So like, okay, so she auditioned for it, and you thought, great actress.
good fit, yeah, for the role.
And then from that point on, how did like, because you two are really close friends. You guys do everything together.
I
Like,
know. I think we just got along really well. So
okay.
and then yeah, like I called her back for a few of our projects, and then yeah, we just kind of became good friends. So
Yeah, I mean, and she's been on some of Michael Fredinelli's films as well. She was in Justified Force. She's a really good actress.
yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, and was she? Is she in this current film? She is.
She
She
is.
is. I think I saw some of the behind the scenes shots.
She's in the office scene that takes place. So
Yeah, yeah. She was also in the office scene when for
I
Sworn
know.
Waifu. So, I was in a film that Michael shot within the last year. I think it's been the last year and a half or so.
I think yeah, we shot 2022.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
when we shot
yeah.
most of it.
And it's a. Do you want to talk about the synopsis of this film?
Yeah, Scorned Waifu. It's about a guy who's really into dating his body pillow. His anime like waifu. Like I'm so a waifu.
Can you explain to them what a waifu is?
So a waifu is a fictional character. It can be from a it's usually from an anime, but it can be for a cartoon, like a Disney princess or whatever that you have like a crush on and that you could wish you could date in real life. And so in this movie, he's dating this like magical girl from this anime we made up for the film. And then he finds a real girl to date, but then the body pillow starts to get a little jealous and comes to life, and stuff happens.
Body pillow is like a terror throughout the film. I play the father of the main character.
Yeah.
I play David, and he's I would say he's the kind of person that looks at life through rose-colored glasses. Would that be safe to say?
I think that'd be safe to say.
Yeah, like a supreme optimist. Yeah. Who's very supportive of his son, but also a little blind, chooses to be blind to actual negativity that, has fallen upon
Exactly.
his family. So, which, too much optimism could be to our detriment at times.
Yeah, I think you played really well off Deanna Kim, who plays the mom. So
Yeah. And that entire cast was amazing.
everyone was really good.
Yeah, the chemistry with the cast members, and we all got along so well. It was actually just a lot of fun to shoot. Yeah. So I can't wait till that comes out. I know you're
Waiting on the animation. It's it's a painful process. Like it's painful and like it takes a time to like make 2D animation.
Oh, yeah.
And it's yeah, she's working like she's doing everything on her own too, so it's like a lot of work to do.
Got it.
Because on like an anime, they have like
Yeah.
50 people.
Yeah, anything with animation, I think, takes a little bit longer. I don't know how long it took for Michael Fredinelli to complete Desert Mirage,
I think
but
it said 2 or 3 years.
okay, yeah. So it does take some time, but yeah, I can't wait to see it.
I know.
Yeah, but going back, we're talking about candy, right? Because you made a lot of films. I mean, you're still a big fan of candy,
Who
right?
isn't a big fan of candy?
So what would you put, like, no particular order? What are like top 5 candy bars? You don't have to rank them or anything.
I would say I'm a bit more on the chocolate team than
Okay, so some of your favorite chocolate.
I really love Crunch bars, Bunch of Crunch.
Okay.
Three Musketeers is good. Kit Kats are good. Reese's peanut butter cups, tasty. Snickers can hit the spot.
Okay, that's 5. That's 5. They're all in the chocolate family.
Oh, that's on the chocolate side.
Okay, okay. Let's go to the other side.
The fruit, like the let's see,
Like the fruitier,
the fruity
more
candy.
sugary kind.
Probably Skittles,
Okay.
Starburst.
Skittles, the one that is saying they're saying is cancerous now. I think that's come out in the news. Or
I don't
something.
eat them that much anymore,
Yeah.
but as a kid, I like Skittles.
I love Skittles. I love Skittles too. I mean, I have a T-shirt, a Skittles
The
T-shirt.
Skittles rainbow.
Yeah.
Let's see. Airheads can be good. Are you an Airheads fan?
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Good one.
Yeah, I like more of that family of candy. So when I get candy, I usually don't get chocolate. I mean, I'll eat chocolate, but it's not gonna be my first choice. I'll always get like the trolley candies,
Uh-huh.
or I'll get a Haribo. There's a mix that I really like. It's called the Funtastic Mix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's like a variety of the different Haribo gummies.
Ah.
Yeah. So that one's super good. And Airheads is good. Skittles, yeah. Those are all kind of like the family of candies that I do like. As far as chocolate goes, chocolate for me is a lot based on texture.
Uh-huh.
So I like crunchy things, so I like Twix because I like caramel also, right? So I like Twix. I like Kit Kat,
Mm.
and Caramello is just one of those ones I've loved ever since I was a kid. But I do find the level of sweetness as I've gotten older is a little too intense for me now. Yeah, Caramello's like the caramel in there is super super
Oh yeah.
aggressive. Yeah. But I think I don't know. I haven't had caramel in a very long time, but I did, however, enjoy it quite a bit. But yeah, Twix and Kit Kat will probably be at the top for me, just because they have that crunch in there. Yeah.
Good choices.
Yeah.
Kit Kats are good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you go the Cold Stone, but if you put some Kit Kats in the ice cream,
Ye-
it's so good.
I'm telling you, like this is what I do at Cold Stone. I tell them just get me the French vanilla, um, and a bunch of cherries and Heath.
Ooh.
And like Heath, I don't like alone as a candy bar just because I don't know. It's a little too. It's not exactly crunchy, but it's a little bit more. It just breaks a lot easier. You know what I mean? But it does. I don't like the way it doesn't break down as easy inside the
Yeah.
mouth. But when you get it into tiny pieces crushed up, and you mix it with ice cream and some cherries, you get this like it almost has this like chocolate covered cherry toffee type taste to it, and it's just phenomenal. Yeah.
All right. So I think the last thing we're going to talk about, we're going to probably use some stock music for our like theme music for the first few episodes. But what genre theme song do you think we should go for? Should it be poppy, a hip hop theme song?
Um. Well, I know you'd want to go with metal. No,
Well, I
no.
was thinking like something poppy and kind of catchy.
Well, I think just something that's easy on the ears.
Exactly.
Just kind of poppy sounds okay. Nothing too cheesy, but um, I know Holly is a pretty good
I
singer, right?
think Holly and or Oga will be singing our theme song. So
Okay. Yeah. Hey, if you want to run a few samples or whatever by me and just come up, or you could just go with your own instincts. I'm okay with it because we can always change the theme songs later if
exactly.
we do. But I mean, like, look, this is our very first episode, so we're going to
It's a
be.
learning process.
Yeah. So there's going to be some experimental phases along the way, but I think that's the fun part of it. We're gonna get a lot of freedom to, for all 2 or 3 of you viewers or listeners.
That's how you learn how to do anything. Is you just kind of gotta dive in and see what happens.
Yeah, and I appreciate you know, coming all the way down here. This is something that we talked about doing for about a year and
A
a
year and a
half.
half.
But the thing is, we always we revisited the topic like maybe like twice a year or something like that. But at a certain point, I was like, dude, let's just
Let's just
set
do
a
it.
date.
Let's commit.
Let's just
go.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it's never gonna happen. That's with everything. Yeah. And I know you're very good about that because you're extremely committed to finishing your films.
Hmm.
So I knew that this wouldn't be an issue for you to do because this is child's play compared to
Making a movie.
yeah. That's why like the thought of doing a podcast to some people would be very daunting, but for filmmakers, I know this is not, and that's why that's another reason why I want to do it with you because this is very rudimentary compared to like putting an entire movie together.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about making a film is like in production, it's like you feel like you're getting your crew and you're going out like on an adventure
Yeah.
and you're putting this thing together.
Right.
Right. And creatively, like I kind of want the podcast to be like even before acting, and it's weird to say that because I love acting, but you know what I like doing more? I just like talking. I like having conversations.
Well, you get to do both in acting and podcasting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of want to make this like my number one focus, even before acting, just because it's always been something I wanted to do. Acting is it's very gratifying in many other ways, but a podcast is I think it just feels so natural to me.
And yeah, there's a lot of fun stories and stuff that goes behind like filmmaking. So like getting a chance to like talk to different people and like hearing
Yeah,
their
absolutely. And between the people, the network of people that we have, I mean, we know a lot of the same people, so I think we're gonna have some really
yeah,
good
I think it's going to be
conversations.
a good podcast.
Yeah.
So today is actually the first day of fall, so pretty good day
Is
to
it
Is
really?
it really?
yeah. The solstice or the equinox I think happened like at 11 o'clock last night. So
I don't know any of this stuff. So.
so yeah, first day of autumn.
Okay.
Okay.
So pretty good activity to do on your first day. What do you think?
I'd say so. I'd say so. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait to start booking guests, and we'd love to keep you guys entertained.
Yeah, talking more. We're picking up shooting on the guard room next Wednesday.
Okay.
Oh,
So
sweet. Right on. Is it which cast members are gonna be
that
there?
night it's gonna be Olga and Maribel.
Okay, I remember Mary Bell. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So
Cool. Well, right on. Hey, thanks for joining us today on our very first episode. There will be
more to
many more to
come.
come, so just stay tuned.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Thor and the Boy is brought to you by Magical Hammer Productions. Our producer is Boynton Paek. This podcast is edited by Michael Thordarson. Thanks to our music tracks. Our intro track is Next Steps by Half.Cool and our ending music is Honky Tonk Jazzy theme created by Freedom Trail Studio. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and stay tuned for the next episode.